Hey everybody, this is Diamond Grandma coming to you today with a little WIP and chat. A lot of y'all have been wanting to hear some of my jail stories. That when I worked at a jail, I worked at a jail for 9.5 years. I was assistant jail administrator in our county to the jail that I was in. And anyway, I'll give y'all a little story time. I'm going to give y'all a story that happened to me not long, it happened to me about a year after I had been working at the jail. And at this time, when I was working at the jail, I was a jailer. And I worked with two men on our shift. We had two men and a woman. A woman can do searches on a man and a woman, but of course a woman can only do a woman. So, we were sitting there, me and my fellow employee, Ray, was sitting there one night, and they brought in a little blonde-headed girl. I say little, she was probably about 19 years old. And from the minute she come through the door, she kept calling us Barney Fife. She said, "Y'all little Barney Fife place. Y'all ain't nothing but Barney Fife up in here," and on and on. Well, she had a boy with her. The boy was real nice, courteous, didn't have any issues out of him. But from the minute she come through the door, she was disrespectful and everything else. And she told us, "I am not wearing no clothes anybody else has wore. I am not wearing no shoes anybody else has wore. I am wearing keep my clothes on, and y'all are not taking my clothes from me." So we got her booked in and all that. Well, Ray at this point, he has done had enough. Ray is in his 60s. So that should tell y'all something. He's old enough to be my father. But anyway, he's older than that now. But he had done had enough. So he dials her one phone to call before I take her into a change out room and change her out. And anyway, he's talking to her daddy. And he tells her, said, "Well, you can hear your daughter now, her being disrespectful and everything." So her daddy gets on the phone and tells her, she's like, "You're coming to get me. You're going to get me out. You're coming now, blah, blah, blah." And her daddy's like, "Well, I can tell you one thing. You better be respectful while you're in there, because of anything that happens to you while you're in there, you deserve every bit of it." Well, this little girl was from Oxford. And I don't know if y'all know where I'm talking about in Mississippi. Ole Miss Rebels. She went to school at Ole Miss. So I know y'all have heard of Ole Miss Rebels, Ole Miss. But anyway, in Oxford. And it is known for a partying school. Well, when she come in, she thought her crap didn't stink. She looked her nose down on all of us. Kept calling us Barney Fife, Barney Fife, Barney Fife. Well, I took her into a change-out room, and our policy at the time was we have to do a complete strip search of anybody that comes in the jail. As far as inmates or anything, we have to take their clothes, and we have to take their shoes. We issue them oranges, as we called it, and we issued them orange flip-flops. And we take their property, put it in a box with their picture, name, and all their information on it. So when they leave, we go and collect the box and give them their property, and they change into it and leave. Well, when I got in there, she told me, she said, "I'm not changing in them clothes. I'm not wearing clothes somebody else wore." I said, "The clothes are clean. We wash them. There's nothing wrong with these clothes. You'll get a blanket. You will get a sheet. And you will get a mat, and you're going to go in there, and you're going to lay down, and you're going to be quiet. Because you're not getting out." And at our time, our policy was, if you come in drunk, whatever, you had to stay at least a minimum of 6 hours, or 8 hours till you got out. And plus, nobody was coming to get her, because this was like at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So her daddy done said he wasn't coming to get her. So we got in this little room, and the little change-out room that we called it is not big as nothing. I mean, it is as big as a small bathroom. I mean, it's just big enough for probably 4 people to be in because it was a tight space contained, so you know you could contain the person that you're doing or whatever, and it had some chairs in there. I think there was like 4 chairs in there. Well, anyway, I went in there, and at this time I was 60 pounds heavier. I'm a big woman, plus size woman, plus I'm older, you know, and I was old enough to be her mama at the time. And anyway, she went in there and she said, I'm not changing in them clothes. You're not getting my clothes, and you're not getting my shoes. Well, she had on the prettiest orange, brand new Nike tennis shoes. And I told her, I said, oh yeah, I'm getting your shoes. No, ma'am, you're not. You're not getting my shoes. I don't know what you think you can do, but you're not getting my shoes. Well, I finally got her clothes changed. She kept on and kept on and kept on and kept on about her clothes. Well, I finally got her strip searched, got her clothes, got her changed. Well, it come down to them shoes. And she told me, she said, you're not getting these shoes. She said, I'm not taking them shoes off. I said, I'm getting them shoes. I said, I'm getting them shoes. I said, you can say what you want to. Them shoes coming off, I'm getting them shoes. And she's like, oh, no, ma'am, you're not. I said, you watch me. So she was in there, and all that. Before she knew it, I had her slammed up against the wall and in a pair of handcuffs. Chicken winged her, had her in a pair of handcuffs, picked her up and set her down in a chair, and I snatched them shoes off. Well, my partner heard all the commotion and thought I was in trouble. And when he looked in, it had a 2-way glass in it, so you could look in it if you had to, you know, to see what was going on. He looked through there, and all he seen was me snatching them shoes off. Well, he come barreling through the door. He was all up in her face. Told her if I told her to crap, of course he didn't use that kind of language, that she better crap. If she didn't, that she's gonna wish she had. All that, and I'm screaming, Ray, 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 I've done got it. Everything's fine. I've got her in handcuffs. He said, I don't give a you know what, whether you got her in handcuffs or not. He said, we have put up with her crap and put up with her crap. And he was screaming at her, telling her, we have put up with your crap. We've been nice as we can to be. We've been over backwards to be nice to you, blah, 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 on and on and on. Well, he left, and she was sitting there squalling and carrying on. And I looked at her, and I said, let me tell you something. I said, you come in here like your crap don't stink, acting the way you're acting, and you told me I wasn't going to get them shoes. I said, how does it feel to know that a fat woman got your shoes from you? And she just, cry, cry, you know, just on and on and on. But needless to say, and it wasn't because she was drunk either, because the next morning when she woke up, her daddy come to get her. Well, it just so happened he come before we went off shift, because we go off shift about at our time. It was 6 to 6, from 6 at night to 6 in the morning, or from 6 in the morning to 6 at night, you know. So we were still there when he got there. So I went out front talking to him. I told him everything that happened, and you know, on and on and on. So well, anyway, we got her released or whatever, and I took her up front. And the minute the door opened, she was all over her daddy, crying and hollering and telling I did this and I did that and blah, blah, and on. And he looked at her and he said, called her by name. I can't remember what her name was. But anyway, he told her, said, now look, you come in here spouting off Barney Fife from the minute you come in here saying y'all ain't nothing but a bunch of Barney Fife folks, and that you were ugly to her, told her you wasn't going to change out, you wasn't going to give her your shoes, and you just kept on, just ugly, demanding, and all that. And the look on her face was just priceless. And he told her, he said, let me tell you something. He said, you're not going to like me when we get home, but he said, we're going to settle all this right now because you don't treat people the way you treat them. So needless to say, that was just a little short story. I know it was probably boring to y'all. But people, when they come in there, act that way. It's just plumb ridiculous. And I don't understand why they act that way, because, you know, when you come in there, you're going to get a lot more respect and a lot more courtesy and all that if you treat the jailers with respect then, you know, because what happens is the cop brings you in. Well, the cop most of the time is the one that's making you mad. But we get blamed for it because we're sitting there. We're the one that book you in. And all they have to do is bring you in and leave you. And then their job is over with. Then we have to deal with all the repercussions, the ill folks, the whatever, you know, and drunk folks. And they get to leave and go on to another call. Well, after she left, we have trustees in the jail. And anyway, we have a trustee that would stay up on each shift, like day shift, night shift, that we would call if we needed help or whatever. Well, after she had left and everything, the trustee had come in there and said, Miss Lynn, he said, I got to tell you something. He said, and I know this was wrong, but he said, I got to tell you this. And I said, what? He said, you know, you told me to get her a blanket and a sheet. I said, yes. He said, I folded up a dirty blanket and a dirty sheet and gave it to her because she acted so ugly to you. And I said, why did you do that? You're not. He said, because you and Mr. Ray was trying your best to be just as nice as you could be to her, and she was just being just awful, you know. Of course, he wasn't saying it in that nice of terms. I'm trying to be clean with it because I don't want to be banned or anything. But anyway, he had gave her a dirty sheet and a dirty blanket. And he said, I would have gave her a dirty uniform if I'd known she was going to be that way when you changed her out. I said, you can't do that. He said, Miss Lynn, he said, I'm just telling you. He said, y'all treat us good up here. And he said, and for them to treat y'all the way they treat y'all, he said, I'm not going to have it. So anyway, I didn't do nothing to the boy because, I mean, he always called me mama. I mean, he was young enough to be one of my kids. But that's one thing, when we worked at the jail, you know, if you treat the inmates with respect, they would treat you with respect. And I always tried to. When I was in the jail, you know, I would treat them just like I would anybody else, because just because they're in jail don't make them bad people. They just made a bad choice. And I'm just going to be honest with you, I have met some of the best people I have ever met while I was working in the jail. And I still, even after I quit, a lot of them got upset and cried and everything. But my husband's business, he sells parts and up there where I used to work at. And I still get to go and deliver parts and still see some of my inmates or whatever. But now I've had inmates that have gotten out that call me and come to see me since they've been out, which they're not messing up. If they were messing up, I wouldn't have them, you know. But, I mean, they go by and see my husband and buy parts from him. But, anyway, if they were still messing up, I wouldn't have anything to do with them because I'm not going to be caught up in a bunch of junk like that. But I have to say, that's one of my memorable stories, was that woman coming in telling us we wasn't nothing but a bunch of Barney Fives. But anyway, she thought her crap didn't stink. She went to Ole Miss. And Ole Miss, y'all know Ole Miss ain't nothing but a big old party school. They're one in the top 10 of party schools around. And I'm not dishing Ole Miss or anything like that. I'm just stating a fact. They're one of the biggest party places around. But anyway, that's just a cute little old story I was going to tell you. I have plenty more that are a lot more adventurous than that, but I thought I'd start out with kind of a tame one at the beginning. But anyway, I'm proud that y'all come by to watch my little WIP and chat. And I know some of y'all are looking at me when I'm doing this diamond painting. I'm all over the place. And I know this is probably going to bother some of y'all because I don't take mine off. I don't do mine in sections. I don't do anything like that. I'm all over the place because I'm going to be turning and I'm going to be doing this and I'm going to be doing that and I'm going to be all over the place just like I'm doing now. And I know some of y'all do y'all's in a certain way or whatever, a certain technique or whatever, but this is the way I do mine. And I know it may not be right, it may not be the right way you're supposed to do it or anything like that, But this is the way I do me. I do me so you can do you. And I hate it if it bothers you that I'm all over the place. But that's just the way I do my diamond painting. I'm not in one particular order with anything. I'm all over the place. I turn mine around. I've even done some down here, as you can see. I'm just all over the place. I get me my tray full of colors and beads, and I just do all that at one time. And I roll with it. But anyway, I'm just proud you stopped by. Hope you enjoyed it. I know some of y'all was wanting me to do some with some stories of when I worked at the jail, and I have some that's a lot more colorful than this that I will share in the future. But I'm just doing it kind of tame starting out. So if you like what you seen or liked what you heard, just hit the like button. If you'd like to subscribe, please subscribe and be part of the Diamond Grandma family. And I hope you come back, and thanks for stopping by.